Hey guys, we're going to go ahead and look over our notes about validity and counterexamples real quick, and it should be a real quick video. So we're going to finish this sentence. If I have a red fruit, then I have a ... Think about that. Pause it and write something in. If you have a red fruit, then what do you have? So go ahead and pause the video and write in a fruit there. Hopefully you have done that. You could have several different answers here. I mean, just think of any fruit that's going to be red. In this case, I'll put strawberries. Or it says I have a strawberry. There's an example. You could have an apple. There's several different fruits out there if you consider tomato a fruit. Okay? Today we begin the discussion of validity and counterexamples. Is your above statement true 100% of the time? If it is not, what can we say to disprove it? So, 100% of the time, if you have a red fruit, is it a strawberry? No. Like I just mentioned earlier, you could have a different kind of red fruit. So it is not true all the time. So the way we're going to disprove it, we're going to say no. It could be an apple. So there's a way to prove, hey, nah. So you're going to see this come up here in a minute. So that's the validity of it. So let's talk a little bit more about validity. Validity is going to refer to a statement that's true 100% of the time. So we just were able to disprove the last statement that we wrote the second half of. So let's take a look at this. All humans are mortal. Is this true or false? Mortal means that they... Sorry guys, pushed a weird button on my computer. Mortal means that they are going to pass away at some point. We can't live forever, okay? And this is going to be true 100% of the time, okay? Every single human eventually will pass on. Elizabeth owns either a Honda or a Saturn. Elizabeth does not own a, and we'll put in here, let's say a Saturn. So we're going to take a look at this statement again. She owns either a Honda or a Saturn. She does not own a Saturn. Therefore, Elizabeth owns a, and what if she doesn't own a Saturn, what does she own? Here we can already say that she's going to own a Honda. And is this true or false? And that would be another true statement. 2x plus 1 always makes an odd number. Okay? Well, if you think about it, 2 times any number, okay, 2 times anything is going to be an even number. That's what 2 does. It makes things even. But if you have that even number and you add that 1 onto it, it's going to automatically become an odd number. Take 2 times 2 is 4. Add 1, you get 5. Take 2 times 6, you get 12. Add 1, you get 13. How about 2 times 5? 10. Add 1, you get 11. So this is always going to be true. So all of these statements are valid. Now your counterexample is what we kind of just did earlier with the apple situation. Okay, these are examples that are going to prove statements wrong. Okay, they're going to prove. This is one of our vocabulary words to make sure we understand it. In fact, with a highlighter, you might want to come up here with validity, true 100% of the time. I forgot to have you guys highlight that. So these are some of our vocabulary words that we need to make sure we know. Your counterexamples are examples that prove statements or arguments wrong, okay? And you only need one to prove something is invalid. So the statements above with the Honda and the humans and the 2x plus 1, these are all valid. So you cannot come up with an example to prove it wrong because they're true 100% of the time. Now, when we look at that first statement that we had up here, if I have a red fruit, then I have a strawberry, is that valid? No, because it's not true 100% of the time. So the example that we have in the second thing here is an apple. That apple is what we call the counterexample. It counteracts, it tells you, nope, that statement is not true because you could have this. You could have an apple instead. So let's make sure that we see some examples to make this a little bit more clear for us. Our statement is, if you are in Texas, then you are hot. Okay, is this true all the time? Think about that. Are you always hot in Texas? No, this is invalid. So there are several different counterexamples you could come out with. One that I like to put on here is sometimes during the winter, because during the winter it's hot sometimes, right? So we could put sometimes during the winter. What about if you're in a cold building? What if you're in a walk-in freezer? You're not hot. It's not saying the temperature outside is hot. It's just saying you are hot. What if you have the air conditioning down to 65 degrees? Okay, so these are all counterexamples. The next statement is if, and again, we only need one counterexample, so we only wrote one. The next statement is if it is a ring, then it is made of gold. Is every single ring made of gold? Well, if you wear rings, look at your hands. If you got a gold ring, cool. But chances are, some of you out there are going to look down if you have rings, and you're going to notice they're not gold. Okay? There could be several, again, there are several different counterexamples you could come up with. Okay? You've got, let's see, we got silver. That's what I wear. We got silver rings. We got plastic rings. Again, you only need one, but we'll go ahead and write a couple down. Okay? You got nickel, right? Next statement, if it is a polygon, polygon is a enclosed figure with 3 or more sides, okay? So if this polygon has 4 sides, or if a polygon has 4 sides, therefore it's going to be a square. Well, we're going to learn later with our quadrilateral unit next semester that there are several different kinds of 4-sided polygons. And here we'll go ahead and put, you'll learn later why I'm going to put trapezoid. And you can have a rectangle, a rhombus, things like this, but you'll learn later that a square is also those things. But don't worry about that now, but we got trapezoid. Okay, a trapezoid's like a triangle at the top chopped off. Okay? Next statement, if a man is 7 feet tall, then he plays basketball. Well, what's a counterexample? It's not really a one-word thing like we did on the second and third one, but not all tall people play basketball. Okay? So we just write in not all tall people play basketball. And if I'm going too fast because I'm done writing and you're not ready yet, pause it. Always use that pause button. Okay? That's all today's notes are over. See, this is like under 10 minutes right here. Talking about validity, it's a statement that's true all the time. If it is not valid, it is not true all the time, you need to be prepared to have a counterexample, something that proves it's not true all the time. Make sure we add these words to our vocabulary list in our brain, as well as our flashcards. Download an app so we can put flashcards in our app so we can build onto our geometry vocabulary, and that is it. Best of luck on the assignment. If you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher.